The night was too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears and makes every small sound feel enormous. Jake, a single dad in his early 30s, was finishing his nightly walk with Bruno, his loyal German shepherd. Life wasn't easy. He worked long hours at a tiny mechanic shop, and all he had to show for it was a rented house at the edge of town, a daughter named Ella, and a dog who loved him like no one else could. But Jake had something that money couldn't buy, a heart that refused to turn away from someone in need. Bruno suddenly froze, every muscle tensed. His ears perked, and his tail stiffened like a warning flag. Then, without hesitation, he bolted toward a narrow, dark alley, dragging Jake behind him. "Whoa, Bruno, wait!" Jake called, but the dog didn't slow. Then he heard it, a faint, cracking whisper, a single word that made his blood run cold. "Help!" Jake's heart slammed in his chest. He knew dark alleys were dangerous. He knew he could just go home, where Ella was waiting. But something deeper than fear, something stronger than caution, pushed him forward. And there she was, a woman slumped against the brick wall, her uniform torn, her hand pressed against a wound on her side. Pale, trembling, barely breathing. A cop, but right now she looked fragile, hanging between life and death. Jake froze. He wasn't trained for this. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man trying to do his best for his daughter. Bruno nudged her boot, whimpering softly, as if begging Jake to act. "Hey, stay with me," Jake said, dropping to his knees. "Don't close your eyes. You hear me?" She gasped, coughing. Blood stained her lips. "Ambush, drug bust. They knew we were coming. My partner. Still out there." Her words were barely audible. Jake's chest tightened. Whoever did this could still be nearby. He should call 911. He should wait for help. But something in him, maybe the thought of Ella growing up in a world where people walked past suffering, kept him there. He ripped off his jacket and pressed it against her wound. His hands shook, but he held firm. "You're not dying here. Not tonight," he whispered. Then Bruno barked sharply. Jake's head snapped up. Shadows moved at the far end of the alley. Two figures, carrying something metallic, creeping closer. His stomach twisted with fear. Bruno lunged without hesitation, growling, teeth bared. The men cursed, stumbling backward. Jake grabbed the radio clipped to the woman's vest, fumbling until a crackle came through. "Officer down. Corner of 9th and Willow," he shouted. "She's losing blood. Send backup now." In the distance, sirens wavered. The attackers bolted, Bruno snapping at their heels until they disappeared into the darkness. Jake's breathing was ragged, but he didn't let go. The woman's eyelids fluttered, threatening to close forever. "Hey," he said softly, leaning closer. "I've got a little girl at home. She's 7. She needs me, and I bet someone out there needs you too. So you fight. Okay. You fight." Her trembling hand found his wrist and gripped it like her life depended on it. And somehow it did. Minutes later, flashing lights filled the alley. Police officers arrived, weapons drawn, stopping short at the scene before them. A grease-stained mechanic, soaked in blood. A German shepherd standing guard. And one of their own, still alive because a stranger refused to walk away. Paramedics rushed in, working quickly. A senior officer looked at Jake with awe. "If it weren't for you," he said quietly, "we'd be bagging a body right now." Jake shook his head, drained. "I just did what anyone would have done." But deep down he knew it wasn't true. Too many would have walked away. Too many would have told themselves it wasn't their problem. The officer was lifted onto a stretcher. Her hand slipped from Jake's wrist, but not before she whispered something faint. Just for him. "Tell your daughter, her dad's a hero." Jake stayed still, Bruno pressing close. He didn't feel like a hero. He was a father. A man who couldn't turn his back on someone else's fight. And yet, what he and his dog did that night would ripple through the police force, shocking everyone. A single father with nothing but courage changed everything in those dark, quiet minutes. If this story touched your heart, hit like, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that courage comes in many forms. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories of everyday heroes who change lives in ways you'll never forget.